Here's some advice for you. Listen to withoutyourhead.com and watch it. Listen to it, learn, absorb, enjoy.
Well, we're here. We're live. Thanks everyone for watching Millennial Killer, and I'm here with writer and director Sam Mason Bell.
Hello.
Producer Martin W. Payne.
Hi-oh.
And real estate agent Simon Barry. Within the movie, I don't believe you're a real estate agent.
Yeah, there's no way in hell that he's a estate agent.
Yeah. So that was really cool. Have you seen the movie before with an audience, not an English audience?
Martin's seen it with the audiences.
I've seen it with a non-English audience because it got into Cardiff Film Festival, so that's in Wales.
Kind of counts, yeah.
That's as far non-English as I can get.
So does it play differently depending where you guys are watching it? Well, where the audience is from?
I don't know. Like, you find, one thing I like to see is that certain humorists in the film definitely translate to most audiences. Like, you're going to get a bit of a laugh with certain points, and you're going to get a shock with certain points. For some audiences, sympathise with the estate agent than others. I think anyone who empathises with the estate agent, I think the entertainment factor makes him relatable, but he's still an evil, bad guy for me in people's eyes.
Yeah.
I think I'm creepy.
Oh, definitely. I think that you're amazing in the movie.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the estate agent side.
When you take on that role, how do you decide to play him? Do you decide to? Because I was thinking the best villain is someone who, in their mind, they're doing, everything. What they're doing is right.
Yeah, he believes he's fine.
So, were you always the first choice to play the character?
No.
It's no good putting down. I think I'm above you,
Yeah,
Simon.
You're below me on that one. Above me on that one.
Yeah, originally Martin was to play the estate agent. That was the original plan, and that would have been a very different film. It's weird to see how things turn out, really.
Yeah, and from my perspective, there's all the build-up to being a character, and then it was my decision that actually for the best for the film, I shouldn't be that character because there's so much production stuff having to be handled outside of what you see on screen. And therefore I stepped back, and I truly, and I have said this to him before, I truly believe Simon is the better character. He is the better estate agent, and I could not see anyone else playing that role. For him to step in, great.
3 days before the shoot, that we got him on the film. Yeah.
The one downside of it, which I think Simon would agree with, is quite a lot of the costume. In fact, I think he wore his own shoes. Yeah, but the rest of it was mine.
Oh, really?
So therefore, yeah, the estate agent looks quite overwhelmed by his suit.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. So, what was the thought process for you to play the character, for Simon to play him instead?
I'm not going to answer that because Simon is the character.
I enjoy playing disturbed people. There's nothing more fun than playing someone who's really disturbed.
Uh-huh.
It's just more fun.
It came up in the chat.
He brings a good creepy humour to everything as well. Simon's very good at creepy humour. As well,
Yeah. I think a lot of just like a lot of your silent stuff, just the looks that you give to the camera, I think are great. Really dead on for the character.
Thank you. I have creepy eyes, apparently.
Yes, you do. Yeah. But it's a compliment right now.
Yeah.
Which
there's definitely moments in the film where Simon is just standing there looking as though he really doesn't want to be there and he really wants to kill these people. He's perfect.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Some of the people in the chat brought that up, that they were kind of on the side of you. They were like, the millennials in the movie are annoying. So.
Which I wasn't really expecting at the time.
And it came from millennials themselves, which I thought was interesting.
It's that typical slasher thing, isn't it? You got to have your final girl be relatable, and the killing fodder's going to be slightly unrelatable, you know. But yeah, it's not. They're just supposed to be different types of millennials, you know.
But by the way, they're asking if we can see the chat. So if you have any comments or anything, you can post them there, and we'll read them off. We're on you guys are on a little delay, so it might be. So if we don't get your question for 2 minutes after you ask it, that's the reason. But, I didn't even know until it came up in the chat when Sam mentioned that you shaved your head for the movie.
Yeah, which was okay for the weekend while you're doing it, but I had to keep it for 2 weeks. For like extra bits. That was embarrassing. People think you've chosen this hairstyle.
Yeah. So I assume after those 2 weeks you let it grow out.
It was cropped right down. Right, let's start again. My fear was that it wouldn't grow back.
Yeah, exactly.
He complained about it to me every day. It's not growing back. It's not growing back. I was like, just give it a bit more time. It'll grow back.
It takes a little more than 8 hours to grow back.
But as was being mentioned in the chat, it's the same as the putting on weight or trying to lose weight for a part. It is a big commitment, and for Simon to do it is absolutely great. And for Simon to run the risk of it not coming back, yeah.
You think of it kind of a small thing, but I really think it adds a lot to the character, the hairdo, hairstyle.
Yeah.
Matthew Fisher here, he wants to know, where did the idea come from?
Well, on a filmmaking point, it was because mine had a flat and said, could you shoot something in a flat? So then I thought about that sort of story of like the nightmarish idea of trying to find somewhere to live, and the estate agent turns out to be a killer. Because it's like, to me, there's like two different types of killers. There's the one who's the planned killer, the one who has the master plan, and it's all got to be very precise. And then there's the outside serial killer. Mm-hmm. So I really wanted to do like the planned serial killer, and that's what I thought was a good way if I've got a flat for a couple of days to be able to do a story like that, and also to make sure there was enough empathy towards like the main victim with Leo's character.
So Martin, like you've worked with Sam before. So were you always going to be well, I know you were going to play the main character, well, the evil guy originally, but how did you become the producer on the movie?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with Sam and Trash Arts a number of times, and not just as an actor, also being heavily involved on the production side. And on this particular one, it was that moment just before shooting where, yes, as Sam says, I had a flat that was available. The question was asked in the chat, was this a real property that was actually up for sale? No, it was being rented. It's my flat, I'm lucky enough to own it, and it was going to be between tenants. And that's where the original idea came from of, my flat's going to be empty, can we do something? And I said to Sam right at the outstart, be good to do something nice and simple, something without too many characters. And then he presented me with this basically script saying, yeah, we've got 18 characters. We want to try and shoot it in a small period of time. And at that point, the production decision was, yeah, someone's going to have to go and get everybody turning up, make sure they're scheduled right. All the victims have got to turn up, do their scene, be killed, be got out, and so on. And also converting the actual flat itself. So the master bedroom, with all the plastic sheeting on it, was just created by me on the Friday night before everyone else arrived. And that was a good couple of hours, me just trying to stick plastic sheeting to the wall with tape, hoping that the tape wouldn't take the paint off, because I wanted to let the flat again without having to decorate.
Yeah.
And the same with all the blood, trying to avoid blood on the carpets.
So,
I cleaned it up.
Yeah, you cleaned it up and then you put your hand on the washing machine. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
So did you already have the tenants, like they were ready to move in at a certain date, or were like you still, trying to rent it out like actively?
No, I've worked with Sam before. And I decided I'm not going to try and schedule tenants leaving, film shoots, tenants coming in. No way. So, no, it was left empty for a while, which then gave us the opportunity 2 weeks later to return, as Simon's already said, to just say, we need a few more pickup shots. I think we filmed one of the victims. Yeah, on that second set of shooting days, because I think we realised that we hadn't shown one of the rooms, mainly because we put all the kit in it. And we couldn't be bothered to move all the kit out to just film this room empty.
Yeah.
So we went back and did it again.
Emily Flora here, she wants to know, do the new tenants know about the killings that took place in there?
No. No, and I'm so glad this watch party is more in the US.
Right. Yeah. I won't send them to anybody, so it's interesting. Yeah. And I know you guys said that you've been asked this before, but Matt says, is there a sequel plan called Gen X Killer or Boomer Killer?
Yeah, there's a few people that have asked about that, and some people are like, oh, it makes so much sense that Naomi would go off and kill people. And I'm like, can't she just survive? Does she have to go off and kill more people? So I don't know, like, maybe in the future. I'd rather get someone to do an American remake. That's what I'd rather see.
Oh, yeah. That could be this. The sequel could be, because it could be kind of a meta film where it's about an American remake of your movie. And they change it to killing boomers. Yeah.
Which is actually one of the problems we've had, because we think, this is all UK horror. And we set out to create a film that is basically set in the UK. So we have an estate agent, because that's the UK term. And our distributors, Dark Side Releasing, it almost immediately came back with, that's no good, we've got to call them a realtor, because that's the American term, or real estate. So everything we've done tends to have real estate agent, because the English will understand it and the US will understand it.
Yeah. That's probably something a lot you would never think about, while you're making the movie. Like, just like this term that, maybe that doesn't make sense in this other country or wherever. It's very, very weird. A lot of people brought up was really well lit. Matthew Fisher said that he could see Inferno influence. If you want to talk about the lighting of the movie.
We had, because we had Jackson Batchelor, who did lighting on Truthful Out and does a lot of cinematography on films we do. And we really wanted to, I don't know, because it's entertainment, so we didn't want to kind of push you to feel like it was completely gritty throughout, where it was more natural lighting. Before we can bring in some more extreme lighting through it and really try to give you a state of how she's feeling, more so than the setup. Because the Millennial Killer setup is it's got that blue light. There's that moody nastiness, and it just wanted to feel like it was very separate from this very mundane-looking, regular English flat. I believe, Martin, you did some crewing on the lighting as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I moved a few lights about.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
Everyone has to do everything. On this particular
lights around.
Yeah, you move lights as well, yeah. On this particular shoot, there was a core crew that was quite small, because we're in a flat for a weekend, basically. So a lot of the incoming people just were in, did their scene, went. and the sort of mainstays were actually there, and therefore you do have to turn your hand to anything. It also does mean that those who were staying overnight, the guys slept in the living room, the girls slept in the small bedroom, and Sam got landed with the master bedroom.
Yeah. But there was no bed in there. There was just a table bed.
Well, there's a lot of plastic sheeting, Sam. So you
The odd limb lying around.
yes, and I still never got my sock back.
Oh.
I saw that in the. What is the story with this sock?
Sorry, breaking the illusion, Simon. The makeup artist said, "Oh yeah, I've got a limb, I've got a leg, a foot attached on the bottom half of the leg." So we said, "Oh great, we can use that." It didn't look really realistic as a bare foot, so we stuck a sock on it.
Problem solved.
Made all the difference.
So you just have one. You just have one spare sock now.
Yeah, so I currently have one sock, and the makeup artist has still got the other sock.
Martin brought up in the chat that due to a quick cast reshuffle, that Sam, became one of the characters. So, so you had no plans to actually be in the movie originally.
No, there was no intention to be in the film whatsoever. It was just certain actors couldn't do it, so we had like the Portsmouth crew coming up to where Martin is, and Martin's closer to London rather than we're more down towards south. So it's us taking a bunch of people up, and Rishki Patel was actually, I think he was supposed to play the role that I played, and then we were like, well, I don't want to play the boyfriend of her at the beginning. That's ridiculous. Made more sense for Rishki to do it. And I always seem to find in feature films all feature films will have a major shuffle in the cast. Pretty much a few days before shooting, it's going to be like, this person's no longer going to be involved. Like, okay, who's been involved with the film the most still and really would like to play that role? Great, they're in. And they get remembered for the role more so than you'd imagine, that the other scenarios playing out. You're like, this scenario's played out, it's worked out nicely. I think, I just thought, because the role was actually supposed to be longer. There was supposed to be more scenes with the character, and I just thought, look, I'm playing the same guy. We don't need to have you going on forever about all these things. We'll just cut the scene down, I'll do the character, and it'll work. I'm a filler death. I'm just in there to be killed. Everybody knows as soon as they see me on screen, he's going to die. And I'm happy with that.
Matt brings up... I might know the answers. I don't know, but he said, "Who's the UK's biggest serial killer?" Because he said you guys don't have serial killers like we do in America. But I would think the most well known would be, Jack the Ripper. But I don't know if he's necessarily the biggest.
We actually, I know Simon might remember more about this than I do. But there was a serial killer in Portsmouth in the early 90s. Do you remember the Joanne serial killer?
There's only a few, though, wasn't it?
I thought there was at least 12.
12?
Yeah, because they recently found more bodies.
You tell me. You're the expert in serial killers.
Actually, once when I was in psychology, I had a cop come in to talk to me about this particular Portsmouth serial killer. And they explained how there were lots of bodies still buried. And this particular killer killed sailors who looked like one of my friends in the class, because the cop told my friends. And I'm always going to kind of remember. I think there's probably more famous serial killers, but when you got one in your city, you're going to remember that, definitely.
Yeah, let's see. Let's go into the chat room here. Fisher brings up he thought there was some Hitchcock in the movie, which that's got to be a good compliment.
No, that's lovely. I mean, I don't watch enough Hitchcock to take that on, so I'm just going to appreciate that comment.
AJ Cutler, he said, as a millennial, I can confirm this is all sadly true in regards to how everyone was acting.
Yes, I saw that comment, and for absolutely brilliant. Actually, what we've been able to do with the film, particularly what Sam's been able to do with it, is actually hit that mark of, these are sort of real people, and we can all identify with all of the victims, and that's where I, as one of the older generation, go, yeah, good on you, mate, to the estate agent, because let's face it, wouldn't we all want to? The only downside is his actual motivation, but
yeah, we have to remember he's motivated by right-wing propaganda ideas of what youth are.
He's mad.
I like that answer. It's like, well, all these no, he's just mad. He's crazy. Yeah. That's his motivation. Which I actually really like that line actually in the movie, because the girl's like, "Why are you doing this?" And you're like, "Why do you need a reason?" It just. I like that. I was like, "Yeah, why do you need a reason? This is a crazy dude." How about filming all that stuff when he is going through the explanation and kind of the flashbacks of how he became who he is?
Well, that was the later shoot to the film. Me and Jackson, the cinematographer, we were talking about just like extra elements. We had this idea sort of floating in the back of our heads, and I thought, why don't we just write something just to add in some sort of not understanding as to why he's done it, but more like a warped perspective on what he thinks millennials are. So like Jackson was happy to direct it, and I was the one doing the cinematography for it. And yeah, we worked with Suki, who was in The Truthful Out and Three Good Off a few films. So as Ross Allen Doney, the main front guy, he's in our comedy show, The Making of. And yeah, it was Martin was happy to go with it. He was happy with the script, and I just felt like we needed that extra thing. And then what John did with the sound design really pushed it in, especially with that use of the reverb and stuff. It feels like old news reports being called out to you.
Yeah, I think that whole extra section, because it sort of was an afterthought, but it was required, and the way it was pulled together with the swap round between Sam and Jackson, so you did get a different feel from it, and it does take it out of the property. It takes it out of the serial killer's domain and into his head, effectively. And that comes across really well, and that's particularly why I like that section, because it just goes, this is something totally different. This makes you actually rethink what you thought the film was about. And of course, particularly the end line, which is all, probably one of my favourite parts of the film, which is just the serial killer saying, "Well, it must be true. I read it in the paper."
Which that's very topical today.
Yeah, fake news. Let's not mention that.
Simon, were you involved in the movie on the creative side?
Well, we kind of make it on the wing in certain areas, don't we? So we kind of
we use improvisation. We don't do it on the wing.
Oh yeah, okay, that was it. Yeah, that's the wording. Yeah. So you do have to kind of, it's Ian McKellen, isn't it? I am pretending. Yes, you do have to do some pretending.
How did you get involved with everyone with Trash Shorts?
Oh my goodness. Me and Sam's first film together was more than a decade ago.
2007, when I shot my first film, and Simon was there. So long ago, 13 years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. We've done quite a few things together now.
Yeah, Simon was about 18 at the time.
Cheers.
I'll get the tenner later.
So you mentioned the shirts are awesome, by the way. Who did the artwork for the Millennial Killer poster?
Simon Pritchard came up with the. I need to stand up slightly. Came up with the artwork design. Oh, look, Simon can do it as well. Yeah, great. And it was actually an idea that Sam had. I don't know where the idea came from. Whether it was he's disappeared off. Whether that was a.
Yeah, I've had enough of this.
Yeah, you sent him to sleep. Whether that was a contact from Simon. Oh, I know why he's disappeared off. Whether that was a contact from Simon or whether that was Sam making contact with him. But it was something that it was suggested, and we've done a few features in the past, and well done, sir. Done a few features in the past, and Millennial Killer is sort of ramping things up. So the T-shirts at the festival in January this year, Horror on Sea in Southend in the UK, we had the T-shirts available. We had the small logo badges with the same design on. And it's just part of the fact of, actually, we produced the film, and we want to celebrate that with the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Such as tonight, it's been great actually watching the comments and all the likes and so on. So it's part of that, and that's, I think, probably something that we'll continue to try to give back in future, because it's just feedback for us. It's really good things to do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Simon came up with this. Came up with the original painting, which Sam was just showing, which he's put down again.
It's pretty awesome.
Get it again. And then give Sam the problem of, well, what's he going to do with this picture? Over to you, Sam. What do you do with the picture?
Currently sits in my pantry and eventually will be hung up on the wall. When I buy a frame, for now it sits safely, not getting damaged.
Yeah.
Man.
For people like me, there's something special about, like, a hand-painted a movie poster, because you don't really see it too much anymore, but it's like the stuff like probably a lot of us grew up seeing.
Yeah, so I've just put a plug in as well. I put it in the chat at the time it was mentioned. Thanks, Sam, for prodding me to put the plug in. With the T-shirts are available on Teespring. Anyone can get them at any time.
That's cool.
Any money made from those T-shirts, of course, will be going back into future filmmaking, because we're not in this game to make a profit. It's independent filmmaking.
Emily wants to know, were there any parts of the film that were not necessarily planned, but that were included, kept in because they worked?
Can I answer that one?
Yeah, feel free.
I tend to do a lot on Twitter, and therefore we have a Millennial Killer Twitter account, and I seem to have personalised that. Maybe it's part of me going, I really wish I'd been the estate agent, whatever. And so therefore it tends to have very personal comments. And one of the things that I've picked up from this film is the number of times that Simon refers to the chandelier. Every couple or person that goes in is pointed in the direction of this chandelier. It's my flat. I arrive to set up the plastic sheeting, as I've already said, and think, why is there a chandelier in the living room? I didn't put that in. One of my previous tenants put it in. That's why it's there.
I put it in.
But Simon, bless him, just goes every time, admire the chandelier.
Yeah, that was all made up at the spot, wasn't it? Yeah.
Which I noticed in the chat, you said that chandelier you didn't add for the movie. It was there. Yeah.
Yes. I just want to
You just didn't know I was going to go on about it.
If I ever have to sell the flat, I might have to take it down. I'll present it to Simon.
Yeah.
Have that in the sock if you find the sock.
Yes.
So you mentioned, the festival run. What was that experience like? And Simon, what was that for you to, I assume you got to go to some of the festivals, and what's that to watch yourself on the big screen with an audience?
Yeah, it's okay. It was a nice experience, to be fair, because people were nice to me about it. So if they didn't get good reviews, it would be probably pretty
It'll be totally different, right? Yeah. This guy's terrible. Why'd you sign him?
Yeah. I don't want to go that one.
No. But what about Sam, for you? To go to festivals and watch your film?
I'm really happy that it's got into quite a few festivals. Unfortunately, unfortunately, I haven't been able to go to all the festivals to fully get feedback. But mine always records all the ones because he's always there representing, making sure there's someone there to represent. But the crowds I have seen it with, it's the kind of laughter when people are laughing along with the film. Like, I just wanted to make it entertaining. I didn't want to make it too grim. And before like it started showing to different audiences, some of the reviews were coming in saying it was really dark and it was grim and brutal, and I was like, well, I suppose it's some of those things, but I just wanted people to be more entertained. Like usually the stuff that I've worked on since then is a lot more darker and grimmer, so it's like, oh god, they think this is grim, how grim are they going to find that stuff? But yeah, people seem to be more entertained by it, which is really nice. And yeah, they love Simon, and that's what I really wanted people to fully embrace him as like a UK indie horror icon character. That's what I wanted Simon to try and be able to achieve, even on the smallest degree, you know, to be remembered.
It's interesting you said that because my friend Bill Whedon, when I mentioned we were showing the movie, he said he was too chicken to watch it based on things he heard about Millennial Killer.
Yeah, I wondered about that because I saw that comment, and I did actually want to go back and say, what have you heard?
He's watching the Q&A because he's you know, it's talking about the audience stuff. So he's cool with the Q&A. He's just he's afraid to watch the movie. But I think he'd be fine. I don't think it's. I mean, maybe I'm not the best judge on what's not that dark or gruesome.
There's actually one point in the original trailer, or the main trailer for the film, which is also in the main film, obviously, and it's the point at which Alice gets her lip cut with scissors. Actually, in the trailer, it's the lip.
Is it?
Yes. It's the first time you do it, Simon, and it's just the scissors up to it, and then the snip. And Sam's got that in the trailer. He sends the trailer to me to say, "Is this okay? Can you spot anything?" Because you know, I tend to proofread stuff, and therefore, if we've got any names wrong, etc., we'll try to get that sorted. And I watched the trailer 7 times. 6 times, I flinched every time the scissors went to the lip and the snip. And it was only on the 7th time that I managed to stop flinching. And I know it's obviously fake. Sorry, spoiler.
Well, that's probably a good thing. We didn't really cut her lip for the movie.
We do like to reuse actors.
Nick says Bill Whedon meant in a good way. Yeah, I didn't think he was like trash or anything, but yeah, it was interesting. But I do know that Bill doesn't. He doesn't like what he calls, or not just him, but gore porn. He doesn't like those like really gory movies. AJ,
sorry, you asked about festivals. Because I do the submissions for festivals, I also see the knockbacks and the ones we don't get into. And you just mentioning gore porn just triggers a thought in my head that one of the festivals we submitted to actually supplied judges' comments back to us without us asking. And one of the judges said, well, I watched the first minute, I decided it was going to be a torture porn film, so couldn't be bothered to watch anymore. I think hopefully those people who've seen it tonight will possibly disagree with that.
Yeah. It's kind of disappointing too. Like I watched the first minute of the movie and I judged the whole thing. You know.
Yeah, and we didn't get in the festival. Hey, but never mind.
AJ brought up. He said it was a great homage to M. I think it was the scene where you were sponging up the blood.
That's the thing. It's not something called direct. I love that film. It's a stunning film. I think it's all those sort of serial killer films that you see in the cinema that you end up picking up little elements of accidentally doing. Because I remember on set going, Jack, think of them. It was just nice that you see that moment within it.
You mentioned too that it was a really busy day at the Seaside Cafe when you filmed. There's like a couple talking there. What's that like though? You know, you're making an independent film and you're doing stuff in public and you don't really have control over, you know, who's actually around.
I kind of think like when you film in public, you've got to be like a ghost. You're supposed to be bothering them as least as possible so they pay absolutely no attention to what you're doing. And like when we film in a cafe and stuff, it's busy. They're doing their own thing. We just quietly just get to the corner, get the furthest able away from everyone. I remember being like, with the camera leaning in, with the sound person leaning in, because it was just so busy everywhere. And sometimes, like, you can get away with it where people don't interfere. But you know, it's like people like to just give that little look into the camera like that, or just want to say some sort of noise or something. So it's just trying to be as much of a ghost as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I used to do a review series, Dinner and a Movie, with my friend Annabelle, and we would we would just review movies over dinner, but like at a regular restaurant. And you'd get that people just, and it didn't really matter then because it's just a review. But you know what, that, in an actual movie, someone just walking by and sticking their head in the camera, it's a lot different. So where can you see the movie right now? Besides, if you weren't here, just a few minutes ago.
Right?
Okay. Like where can you get Millennial Killer?
Yeah, so I posted right at the end of or during the credits of the film. The Millennial Killer is available from Dark Side Releasing, based in Vancouver in Canada, and it's available via Blu-ray or on demand in North America only. So that's one place to get it. We've also got a previous film from Trash Arts and HP Films, which is Lonely Hearts, which is also available via Darkside. And other than that, we're still seeking where else we can get it out to. But I think certainly, earlier today, Sam, you talked about another potential watch party for Millennial Killer, and it is a good way at the moment of trying to get people's reactions. Yeah. Just going back a bit, sorry. Before we actually put it into a festival, there was a cast and crew screening, or cast, crew and friends screening down in Portsmouth, which was really useful to get exactly what Sam's been talking about. Of you see people reacting to the film at the point you want them to react. And that is really important. Same as tonight. It's been really good seeing that reaction at the right points.
Yeah. Last month we did a Severed Limbs Film Festival. Really, I just thought it would be a one-time thing, just something fun to do while people are stuck inside. And the turnout was huge, and it was so much fun. And filmmakers like Sam was they were real thankful, that people got to see something that they might not see otherwise. And so that's why, I started doing these, and going to do more because, that's the main thing I miss, is going to the movies and going to festivals. And it's cool to watch a movie by yourself. That's, everyone does that. But the interaction, especially with a horror movie, I think, the interaction with everyone really adds to that. And I like the community aspect of, a bunch of horror fans, watching something together. So while we can't actually, get together, we can get together virtually.
Yeah.
So what do you guys working on anything currently? I guess it's kind of hard to work on something right now, but
I'm going to disappear and do a sound for a moment while Sam talks.
All right.
Yeah, so basically at the moment we've been trying to work on different projects, and we recently launched our first Indiegogo with HP Films for a film called Senseless, which has been doing pretty well. I've never done Indiegogo, so I don't know what to expect. But the kind of response we've got, Anthony's wearing a t-shirt right now, it's been really
Hopefully
cool.
Sam was talking about this.
And yeah, if people can still, if they wish to help us to donate something towards the film, I think Brian put a link on there as well. But yeah, it's a fantasy horror film, but it's set within the woods, so that helps within these sort of times. And the cast is pretty much, we've got Ryan Carter playing the lead, and the other actors, there's 3 other characters, which Mia Jackson and the actress are going to play. Now, the lucky thing about that is that me, Brian, and Jack all live with each other. So we've all created the concept together, we've been developing it, and we can spend weekly just getting each little bit right, and we can all travel together, so we're not we're trying to keep to the guidelines as strictly as possible, because unfortunately this is going to be the future of filmmaking, and we want to be able to achieve it by not having to be limited by having to do lockdown shoots all the time. So going into more of a stranger fantasy world and being it's minimal characters, but we're just going to put it through some nightmarish, crazy shit. Hopefully, will turn out into something a bit different to what we're used to doing, really. But it's still working with those improvised for the point sort of thing. And yeah, that's senseless. That's kind of like our bigger focus. There are always little things like floating around, but that's what we're trying to all of the effort into.
Yeah,
and again with Senseless, obviously modelling the T-shirt, which is the first time I've worn it because it only turned up today. But the T-shirt is one of the perks on the crowdfunder that is being run, which is on Indiegogo, and I again posted the link to that at the end of the credits. But I can remember the link address for that one, which is igg.me/@/senseless-film.
it's very long. It's very long. Very well done. Chad also know.
Put it on the T-shirt, you know.
Right. It's all down the sleeves.
The other thing I wanted to do, I'll just quickly plug Tina Simons from the other side. Me, Simon, and Jackson also did a comedy show for about 3 years called Right Here, Right Now. We tried to shoot a lockdown episode a couple of months ago. It's online on our YouTube channel. It was absolutely hellish to try and shoot. To fake phone calls from other sides. Yeah, it was a nightmare. I absolutely hated shooting it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our comedy show that we have.
Yeah. How about yourself, Simon? Do you have something else you'd like to plug to that they didn't talk about?
Yeah, filming remotely is really hard.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Do you recommend it, or should people avoid?
No.
I made a couple movies this last year with my friend Michael, and he's always telling me making movies is a terrible idea. Don't do it. And I'm like, well, why did you get me involved in this? If it's such an awful idea, maybe it's not really my friend. I know. Yeah, exactly. You could have told me this months ago. I would have listened to you. I just wanted to bring up because next we're going to be doing B Documentary 2. And Sam is actually in B Documentary Part 3 that's coming out whenever people can actually film stuff. So how did that come about with Nick Charles?
When Nick, his film Bullied was in like a non-exclusive horror anthology he did, I think last year or the year before, Halloween Hell Night. So we just started chatting from there, really. Bullied featured in that, and he wanted to do some more anthologies. We just started chatting about just like indie films in general. To start finding when doing more anthologies, that community is just so close.
Yeah.
And you just have general chats and just catching into people in, well, mostly America, like obviously I'm Portsmouth, and just seeing where they're at and stuff. And he said, could you just join in with it and get involved with it? And I kind of wish I gave him a bit more, because it's hard to know how much you're supposed to give for a documentary segment. Mm-hmm. But I'm hopeful that he's happy with it, at least. But I think it's really cool what he's putting together. And the fact that it's like a third volume with it as well, which you're in the third volume, aren't you?
Yeah. I think he thought I was the Neil Jones from Dirty Dancing, and then he realized I'm not. But it was too late to get rid of me. I feel bad because like Debbie Rochon's in it, and like she'll looking like, oh yeah, who else is in this? I was like, who the hell is this guy? Why is he in this movie? But
that's how I feel. So don't worry, it's a mutual feeling of feeling. Why am I with these names?
Exactly. But I appreciate it. Thank you, Nick. And sorry in advance if people avoid the movie because of my involvement. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I love the movie. Millennial Killer is great. I like all your stuff because I'll be honest, I just started watching it, the trash art stuff recently, and I've liked everything. And I also like that a lot of it is is different styles. It's not like so some of it's a little similar, I guess, but a lot of it's a lot of different styles, and I think that's cool to see. And you make a lot of stuff, which is also good to see. Because I said this before when I talked to you, that I think a lot of people come up with ideas and like, oh, I'd like to make a movie, and then and if you never do it, then it never happens. But you guys, get together, you make it. You might not have huge budgets, but you get it done, and it's there, and people can watch it.
That's all we want to do, man. We just want to be able to keep on creating, and hopefully be able to forward other people who want to create stuff as well, and not have to do with the financial. This has to be like this. Just get out there and create.
We have a Latin saying for trash arts. It's a spora in velox. It means rough and quick.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's our ethos.
Sorry. I wasn't actually admiring Simon's Latin there. I'm just looking at my emails, and I can see just literally hot off the press. Sam doesn't know this. No one knows this. I've just read it. Apparently, Hollywood Blood Horror Festival is proud to announce that we are a winner in their festival.
Oh wow!
Oh, wow.
Millennial Killer.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
What have we won?
I don't know yet.
Simon wants a
need to read
trophy.
the email, but, I don't think it's money, Simon. I think we got a laurel.
House in Barbados?
Yes. I'll go back and ask.
Well, very good. Congratulations.
Yeah, hot off the press.
There you go. And Simon, since you're, and not just because you're here, but really you're awesome as the killer in the movie. I wanted to say in the chat, but I didn't want to give it away originally. But I guess it's kind of evident pretty early in the movie. All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate you guys being on. We should do this again sometime for another movie.
Definitely.
And up next will be
That was really cool.
Yeah,
Oh, we'll
next
find
be
one.
documentary too. But go check out Trash Arts and see what else you get. You get a lot of cool stuff on YouTube and on your Facebook page, and people should check it out.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you, guys.
and thanks to everyone who's been watching this evening or this
Yeah,
afternoon.
and thank you guys for staying up so late. I know it's like 2 a.m. there now.
Oh yeah, it's calling towards
Yeah,
2 a.m.
Sam
We're
Sam
out there
knows
anyway.
exactly.
Yeah, time.
Yeah, why?
I got my coffee, but it's only 9 for me. All right, guys. I will see you guys soon.
Brilliant.
Big soon. Good luck with
Yeah.
the rest of it. Bye.
Thanks all.
Yeah.